Welcome to the latest climate podcast. Here are today's top climate news stories. At the COP30 climate talks in Belém, Brazil, countries are actively discussing how to address climate change, particularly focusing on fossil fuels and the role of indigenous communities. Indigenous groups, like the Munduruku, protested for their rights and were promised more involvement in the negotiations. Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva emphasized the importance of these communities in the discussions. While there are concerns about the summit's effectiveness, Brazil aims to strengthen commitments to transition away from fossil fuels. Delegates are hopeful that meaningful progress can be made before the summit concludes on November 21st.
In Bengaluru, India, Puravankara Limited and the Ramaiah Institute of Management launched the EcoBuild Conclave 2025, focusing on sustainable urban development. The two-day event gathered policymakers, experts, and academics to discuss pathways toward net zero emissions and circularity in real estate. Leaders emphasized the importance of integrating sustainability into building design, highlighting that green buildings can be cost-effective when planned early. Puravankara also released its ESG report 2024-25 and announced IFC EDGE pre-certification for a project in Kochi, showcasing its commitment to responsible growth and climate action. The conclave marks a significant step towards a sustainable future in India's real estate sector.
The United Kingdom faces a significant decision regarding energy production and climate commitments as it approaches 2030. With aging gas and nuclear power facilities at risk of closure, the country could lose around 12 gigawatts of essential power generation capacity. Although a new nuclear project at Hinkley Point aims to contribute 3.2 gigawatts, it won't be operational until after 2030. Technology companies are exploring off-grid alternatives to mitigate costs, but equipment delays pose challenges. The government must balance the need for artificial intelligence data centers with its net zero goals, as choosing one may compromise the other, creating a complex dilemma for the future.
Australia is actively pursuing the opportunity to host COP31, following Energy Minister Chris Bowen's visit to the COP30 Climate Summit in Brazil. Australia and Turkey have been in a competitive bid since 2022, with Prime Minister Anthony Albanese reaching out to Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan to resolve the situation. Bowen emphasized Australia's commitment to clean energy and its desire to collaborate with Pacific Island nations to combat climate change. The Pacific Islands Forum supports Australia's bid, highlighting the urgency of addressing rising sea levels. Australia aims to transition to renewable energy and showcase its advancements in green technologies.
At COP30 in Belém, Brazil, experts emphasize the urgent need for adaptation finance to protect global health from climate change. With millions at risk from heat and wildfire smoke, current funding is critically insufficient, falling billions short of what is needed. India is taking significant steps, having already invested $146 billion in climate adaptation and is now supporting the Belém Health Action Plan to strengthen health systems. The newly launched Climate and Health Funders Coalition, committing $300 million, signals a growing recognition of the link between health and climate action. Immediate investment is essential to safeguard vulnerable populations and enhance resilience.
China is stepping up as a leader in the fight against climate change at the COP30 summit in Belém, Brazil, following the United States' absence for the first time in 30 years. With a prominent pavilion showcasing its renewable energy innovations, China is presenting its vision for a sustainable future. Executives from major clean energy companies are engaging audiences, while diplomats work to facilitate constructive negotiations. China's advancements in electric vehicles and renewable energy enhance its role in climate diplomacy as it aims to support global efforts and foster cooperation. This shift highlights China's commitment to a cleaner, greener world.
Ukraine is currently facing a significant scandal involving Tymur Mindich, a former influential figure in the energy sector. He is under investigation for a massive embezzlement scheme linked to the country's nuclear energy company, amounting to USD $100 million. This scandal has led to the resignation of two top ministers and raised concerns about his connections with President Volodymyr Zelensky. Despite fleeing the country, Mindich's alleged network of loyalists continues to pressure state contractors for kickbacks. Additionally, authorities are exploring possible connections between Mindich and Firepoint, a leading drone manufacturer, as the investigation unfolds.
India is making strides in addressing climate change as it participates in the 30th UN Climate Conference in Belém, Brazil. While the country faces a growing energy demand, it has managed to slow the increase in its emissions, projected to rise only 1.4% this year. India is investing in renewable energy, aiming to become the second largest market for renewable growth by 2030. Despite challenges, including a heavy reliance on coal, India's commitment to reducing emission intensity and expanding forest cover reflects its dedication to climate action. The nation is advocating for increased climate finance and support for developing countries at the conference.
China is stepping up as a leader in global climate change discussions at the UN Climate Summit in Brazil's Amazon city of Belém, where its impressive pavilion showcased major renewable energy firms. With the United States absent for the first time in 30 years, China is embracing its role in clean energy and diplomacy. This shift highlights China's commitment to filling the leadership void left by the U.S. and strengthening its credibility in international climate agreements. As China takes center stage, the dynamics of global climate diplomacy are evolving, promising a more active approach to tackling climate change. Soon,
Brazil is facing challenges at the COP30 climate conference in Belém, as a United Nations official has urged immediate improvements to address issues like poor security, high temperatures, and inadequate facilities. Simon Steele, the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change Executive Secretary, highlighted security lapses and uncomfortable conditions impacting nearly 50,000 attendees from around the world. Protesters disrupted the event, leading to injuries among security personnel. Attendees also faced problems like flooding, power failures, and long food lines. Steele emphasized the need for urgent action to ensure the safety and well-being of all participants at this important climate gathering.
India's battery industry is embracing a bright future with the Indian Battery Manufacturers Association's new leadership. Avik Kumar Roy, CEO of Exide Industries, has been appointed president, and Harshavardhana Gurineni from Amara Raja Energy and Mobility is the new vice president. Their leadership comes at a crucial time as the industry shifts towards e-mobility and renewable energy, creating exciting opportunities. The association aims to focus on sustainable manufacturing and recycling practices while advocating for industry interests. By setting quality benchmarks, IBMA is dedicated to enhancing the reputation of lead-acid batteries in automotive and energy storage applications.
Andhra Pradesh is making impressive strides in clean energy by securing investment commitments worth rupees 5.2 lakh crore, which is set to create over 260,000 jobs in the energy sector. These investments will focus on renewable energy, green hydrogen, and biofuels, with Renew Energy Global contributing rupees 82,000 crore to various projects. This initiative is part of Andhra Pradesh's broader goal to boost its clean energy capacity and support sustainable development, showcasing the state's commitment to a greener future and economic growth.
In Ukraine, a significant corruption scandal has emerged involving Tymur Mindich, a former associate of President Volodymyr Zelensky, accused of masterminding a $100 million embezzlement scheme linked to the state nuclear energy company. Mindich has fled the country as investigations unfold. His rise to power is closely tied to his relationship with Zelensky, raising concerns among activists about corruption during wartime. Meanwhile, Ukraine's drone industry is rapidly advancing, with local companies like Firepoint developing innovative technologies for military use, showcasing the country's resilience and ingenuity amid challenges.
In the UK, Oxfordshire is celebrating the launch of 2 new apprenticeship programs in nuclear health physics monitoring and nuclear decommissioning operations. Developed by the UK Atomic Energy Authority and Manufacturing Technology Centre, these courses aim to meet the increasing demand for skilled workers in the nuclear and fusion sectors. With a £2.5 billion investment in fusion energy, these programs are hosted at the Oxfordshire Advanced Skills Training Centre. The first cohort of 36 learners has started, paving the way for a bright future in clean energy and creating new opportunities in a region that needs them.
In Chennai, Praveen Kumar PA has transformed his family's electricity expenses with an impressive 8-kilowatt solar roof unit, resulting in an almost zero power bill. After convincing fellow apartment owners to utilize the terrace for solar panels, Praveen's investment has paid off. The system generates around 32 units daily, allowing him to charge his electric scooter and car efficiently. With an initial investment of 4 lakh rupees, he recouped costs in just 3 years. Inspired by his success, 6 other families in the community have also adopted rooftop solar, promoting sustainability and reducing energy costs together.
Australia is actively competing to host the COP31 Climate Summit next year, with Energy Minister Chris Bowen representing the country at COP30 in Brazil. Australia and Turkey have both submitted bids since 2022, and Prime Minister Anthony Albanese is working to resolve the competition by reaching out to Turkey's President Erdogan. Bowen is optimistic about Australia's global support and plans to highlight the nation's clean energy initiatives, backed by the Pacific Islands Forum. As Australia aims to become a renewable energy leader, it is shifting away from coal and investing in green technologies, while Turkey emphasizes funding for climate projects in developing nations.
China is making impressive strides in renewable energy, having already surpassed its goal of installing 1,200 gigawatts of wind and solar power by 2030, reaching over 1,700 gigawatts. This positive trend reflects a broader global momentum in climate action, with the European Union achieving a 37% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions since 1990. The 2015 Paris Agreement, initially criticized, is proving effective as countries work towards ambitious targets. Despite some skepticism, the evidence shows that when nations commit to climate goals, they often exceed expectations. The energy transition is gaining ground, signaling a hopeful future for combating climate change.
For more climate news, make sure to download the Change Your Climate app from the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. Please note these stories were AI-generated from real news sources, which isn't always perfect. If you have any concerns or questions about the news contained in this podcast, please reach out to us. Thank you and see you tomorrow.